So back in 2019, I found a lump on my right breast, close to my armpit. I had some eczema next to it. And then, yeah, so that's how I found it. I was just laying down and I casually scratched it. I felt a small, tiny lump. So I went to see my gyno afterwards. And at the time, she just felt it. She did a needle biopsy. She thought it was kind of weird because I have family history with my mom being a breast cancer survivor. But, you know, she just felt it around, and she said since it still moves, it's probably just a cyst. There's nothing to worry about because I'm so young. And I was like, all right. And she also said, like, you know, just keep an eye on it, which I did. And then I realized it started to grow over time, and it started to hurt, especially more around my period. It's when it hurt the most, and especially where it is. It's like, since it's on the side, I'm like always moving my arms and hitting it. And like for work, I do hair, and so I move my arms a lot. So, you know, I'm just jamming it. And I wanted to go back in, but 2020 happened, and then, as we know, that's when shelter in place happened, COVID hit, so I couldn't go back in. And so then, yeah, I just kind of like pushed it to the side because like, all right, it's just a cyst, don't worry about it. But then once 2021 happened, fall around the end of September, so I went back in to see my doctor, and at that time I changed doctors, and I was telling her how it was growing, but I told her like, oh, but my gyno said it's just a cyst, so it should be fine. But she's like, no, we're gonna do a needle biopsy and like all that. And I was like, oh, and it kind of freaked me out a lot actually, because I thought in my mind I was like, oh, it's nothing, it's just a cyst. So, but yeah, and then I couldn't go get it that day when I went in, so I didn't do the needle biopsy until October, and I kind of freaked out. I didn't realize how freaked out I was until I went in. I was pretty calm until that day when I got the needle biopsy, only because it was breast cancer awareness month, because it was October at that time. And I think just the hardest part was like all the memories I had with my mom when she went through it. She was 45 at the time, and I'm 28 now, and I think I was around 11 when she was going through that, and she was like around stage 3, 4. So she had it pretty rough, and so a lot of those memories like flooded back when I had a needle biopsy. And so when they did it, it turned out to be a tumor, but it was benign, so that was fine. But so, and because I had all those memories, I just wanted it out, just for, because it was just gonna make me anxious, because if I kept it in, I would have to go in every 6 months to keep it, so they could check up on it and make sure nothing changes. And I didn't want to do that because it's gonna make me more anxious and paranoid. And so I decided to get a lumpectomy, so where they remove the tumor and like part of the tissue around the tumor. That didn't happen until the very end of October, and it was actually not so bad. Like I already been under once, like when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, so it was fine. I think I just freaked out more with the needle biopsy, and it freaked me out that it wasn't just a cyst, and I was just more excited of just getting rid of it. And so yeah, so then I did the lumpectomy. They said it was going to be 1 week recovery, but for me, since I do hair and it's in a spot where I'm hitting it all the time, it was gonna be, I took off 2 weeks, and it was actually fine. It was I was in pain a little bit, just because like even if I try walking around the neighborhood where it is, it's just I'm just constantly hitting it. So like at first, like mentally I thought I could do it, but then like my body would be like, oh no, stop. So, and I wasn't allowed to carry anything over 5 pounds, so that was recovery part was really boring. But I was so tired anyways and in pain that first week, so it wasn't so bad. And it was, and oh, and then another thing, before they put me out, they actually put a patch behind my ear, so when I wake up I don't get sick from the anesthesia. And the reason why they put a patch behind my ear because they asked me some questions, and I told them I get really car sick and I have like IBS, so I have like a really sensitive stomach. And so they put that behind my ear, but the thing they told me not to do is touch it and then touch my eye, or else it's gonna be dilated for a few days. And since I have eczema, I have them in patches, and I forgot that I have eczema back here, and they put the patch up here. So I casually scratched it and I touched my eye, and my eyes were just dilated almost that whole week. It was horrible. That part I think was the worst part, was having my eyes dilated. And so I think just a combination of my eyes dilated and just the pain of having the lumpectomy kind of like just like knocked me out the whole week, so I couldn't really remember much about it. The second week was better. I'm glad that I took the second week off because kind of needed that, because when I worked on the third week, mentally I thought it was okay, but then I stretched my arm too high and it kind of stretched it a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, not really 100% until like maybe 4 weeks, I would say. At least just where it was, because it was on this side, and like even the incision wasn't too bad. I can show you real quick. It's like, you can kind of see my eczema, it like moved up. It used to be lower, but the incision is like right here, and it wasn't too bad. And honestly, it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, but I'm really happy that I did the lumpectomy, because when I found out, because I didn't know they actually tested again. So when they took it out, they tested it, and it turns out I was high risk of breast cancer. And like when they calculated for me, it turns out to be like almost 50%. So it's like just flipping a coin and seeing which one doesn't land. And so that helped me decide getting a double mastectomy with reconstruction. So that's the part that's more scary for me. But the lumpectomy was fine. It wasn't that big of a deal, just because I know it was just giving out. So now I want all of it out. But that's my story of when I got my lumpectomy. It's not really that bad. I think it would have hurt more though if my breasts were bigger, because I could understand like the weight of it, and when you're just moving, you don't realize how much it moves. And luckily they're like in the smaller size, so I think I was not as much pain as I would have been. It just hurt more just because just where the placement of it. But yeah,